A 21-year-old told a man to dig up his dead mother. That's where this ended up. Not with a diss track, not with a meme war, not with a Verzuz that never happened, with a headstone image posted on Instagram and the name Sabrina Jackson, a woman who was murdered when her son was 8 years old, being used as ammunition in a rap beef. The internet froze when it happened, because there's a difference between aggressive trash talk and touching someone's childhood trauma in front of millions of people. And to understand why that moment landed the way it did, you have to trace every step that led there. Because nothing about this escalation was accidental. Earlier this year, T.I. went public claiming he and 50 had privately discussed doing a Verzuz battle. According to Tip, the plan was simple. He would announce it publicly, 50 would confirm, and the culture would get the heavyweight catalog showdown it had been waiting for. When T.I. announced it, 50 acted like the conversation never happened. For T.I., that wasn't a scheduling issue, it was a character issue. He went on record saying he'd lost respect for 50, and in hip-hop, that word between veterans carries specific weight. It's not a casual complaint, it's a declaration. 50 responded by calling him King Rat in the comments. That phrase questions integrity, implies federal cooperation, and stains credibility in a culture where reputation is currency. Old court clips resurfaced. Snitch allegations flew both ways. T.I. hinted he had paperwork of his own. What was supposed to be a catalog celebration had turned into a credibility war, and neither man was built to back down. Then 50 changed the battlefield. He posted an unflattering photo of Tiny Harris and captioned it with a warning for T.I. to keep his name out of his mouth. One image, short caption, and a woman who had said nothing publicly about any of this was suddenly front and center in a war she didn't start. Tiny isn't just someone's wife, she's a Grammy-winning artist, a founding member of Xscape, someone who has been in the industry since the 1990s. She hadn't challenged anyone, she hadn't weighed in on the Verzuz situation. She was uninvolved, and she became the target anyway. That's not accidental. 50 has spent 2 decades understanding that attacking a man's pride produces a response, but attacking his household guarantees one. The Tiny post was a calculated trigger, and it worked, just not on the person he was aiming at. Team, I responded in the comments, firm but measured. He didn't go to anyone's family, he kept it pointed at 50. King Harris didn't respond that way. The second King saw his mother trending for mockery in front of millions. He went live. No delay, no strategy, just raw, unfiltered emotion. He fired directly at 50. He questioned how someone raises a man who does this. Then he went further than anyone watching expected. He posted what appeared to be an image of Sabrina Jackson's headstone, told 50 to dig her up, said it more than once. Before that moment can be understood, you need to know who Sabrina Jackson actually was, because King wasn't pressing on a vague reference. He was pressing on the foundation of 50 Cent's entire identity. Sabrina had Curtis when she was 15 years old. She raised him alone in South Jamaica, Queens, one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in New York during the crack era. Tough, independent, determined to build something real in circumstances that made that nearly impossible. In 1983, when Curtis was 8 years old, she died in a fire. Authorities believed it was no accident, that she may have been drugged before gas was left running in the apartment. No one was ever charged. The case was never solved. 50 has spoken about it across decades of interviews. He's admitted he didn't understand death at that age, that when his grandmother told him she wasn't coming back, he kept waiting for her to walk through the door. He's talked about how that void shaped everything that came after. How by 12 he was in the streets because there was no anchor keeping him away. How the hunger people see in him today traces directly back to losing her before he was old enough to process what losing meant. Everything about 50's persona, the survival instinct, the aggression, the refusal to show vulnerability publicly, has roots in that 8-year-old sitting in South Jamaica, waiting for a mother who was never coming home. When King posted that headstone, he wasn't firing a diss. He was reaching into the deepest wound in 50's origin story and pressing on it in front of millions of people. A murdered mother, an unsolved case, a childhood shaped entirely by unresolved grief. The internet understood that shift immediately. Comments went quiet in a way they don't usually go quiet, because there's aggressive trash talk, and then there's this. King didn't stop at the grave post. He reposted old court footage. He referenced past legal issues. He pulled everything he could find, running entirely on emotion and loyalty, trying to dismantle 50's image from every direction simultaneously. Everyone watching expected 50 to explode. He posted a meme. Pepe the Frog, caption, LOL. No emotional paragraph. No matching the intensity. No response that acknowledged the gravity of what had just been posted about his mother. Just 3 letters and a cartoon. If you don't know 50's history, that looks like indifference. If you've watched him operate for 20 years, it looks like exactly what it is. Strategy. He's run this play since the early 2000s. With Ja Rule, with Rick Ross, with Floyd Mayweather. The formula never changes. Provoke, wait, and when the other side goes emotional, go cold. The person reacting looks unstable. The person laughing looks in control. By posting LOL after a grave photo, 50 shifted the entire narrative. The story stopped being 50 crossed a line with Tiny and became King went too far. Whether that shift was fair is a separate argument. What matters is that it worked. 50 has said in interviews that he cried talking about his mother, that the loss never fully healed, that he still thinks about her. But online, in the middle of a beef, he showed none of that. He showed a frog emoji. That composure, real or performed, is what repositioned him in the court of public opinion almost instantly. While 50 stayed cold, T.I. went to the booth. He previewed a diss track called War. And the tone wasn't playful or promotional. It was pointed. He questioned 50's street credibility. He referenced paperwork. He painted him as someone who operates aggressively online, but differently in real life. In hip-hop, those accusations attack identity. This wasn't promo banter. This was T.I. doing what veterans do, taking the fight to wax when Instagram wasn't enough. Now, 3 different approaches were running simultaneously. King was emotional and reactive. T.I. was strategic and heated. 50 was cold and sarcastic. The internet watched all 3 and argued about which one made sense. Some fans said T.I. and King were right to respond the way they did, that if you drag someone's wife into a public beef, you don't get to set limits on what comes back. Others argued that matching 50's energy was exactly what he wanted, and that the Harris family handed him control of the narrative the moment King posted that headstone. Both arguments have weight, and that's where the uncomfortable reality of this situation sits. 50 went after Tiny first. That was a calculated choice to pull family into something that had been between men. It was designed to get a reaction, and it succeeded completely. In that sense, he threw the first stone that broke the window. But once King posted Sabrina Jackson's grave, the window was already broken on both sides. A murdered mother's resting place doesn't belong in a rap beef. Not because of some unwritten rulebook, but because some things carry weight that the internet can't contain. That image traveled. It got screenshotted. It landed in front of people who knew nothing about the Virzouz argument and saw only a young man pointing at where a dead woman was buried. That's not a meme. That's not content. That lands differently. And the debate about who crossed further, was it the wife photo or was it the grave, doesn't have a clean resolution. Both sides removed the guardrails. Once that happens in a public beef, neither side gets to decide where it stops. Everyone involved had something to protect: reputation, family pride, legacy, brand value. And everyone involved made choices that made protecting those things harder. No one walked away from this moment without leaving something behind. The memes will fade. The diss tracks will get fewer streams as months pass. The comment sections will move to the next story. But the image of a headstone posted as a weapon in a rap feud, that stays. Because screenshots don't expire. And once something like that exists on the internet, no delete button actually reaches it. That's what made this different from a standard back and forth. Not the trolling, not the bars, not even the LOL, the headstone. That's the image people will still remember when everything else about this situation has blurred together. And that says something about where the lines actually ended up in this entire exchange. Not where anyone said they were, but where the moment proved they had always been.